In case the environmental questions asked about a level of organizations under the examples, if they directly ask the questions, it's like in this way, or how the human modernization or industrialization will affect the organizations. In this way, if they are asking, you can use it at the level of organization, how they impact on the each level because of the human intervention in modern society. You can give it as a subtopic and examples using the same points. And minor communities, which means that mostly they are dependent on neighboring communities. Example, lichens. Lichens means lichens means fungi and the plant. Both are living in symbiotic relationship. One fungi and the algae, both. The fungi will give the water nutrients from the soil to the algae, and the algae will produce the starch through photosynthesis method. So lichens we can use lichens we can call it as a symbiotic organisms. Symbiotic means each one helping to survival. One is fungi and another one is algae. Why they are each one is helping and symbiotic relationship means the fungi is a non-green. They cannot produce starch. They are not able to do photosynthesis. But the algae can able to do photosynthesis. But algae need a nutrients and water for the starch producing. Because of the reason, the fungi will help. And lichens on a cow dung pad because they need a medium to live. The cow dung pad will produce as a soil medium for the lichens. So we can say it as a minor communication. So cow dung pad is the habitat place for the fungi and the algae. Different communities. Okay. The different communities collectively on the cow dung pad. So we can say it as a minor community. So community means a major and a minor. We can conclude with the two types. And the major community example is a tropical evergreen forest, and minor communities example is a mat of lichens and cow dung. Then next level of organization is ecosystem. Ecosystem is a structural and functional unit of biosphere. We can say it is a structural and functional unit means the ecosystem is a large desert. We can say it as an ecosystem, or a smaller pond or lake. We can say it as an ecosystem. The ecosystem consists of a community of living beings, physical environment, both interacting and exchanging the materials between them. Say for example, components of ecosystem, one is abiotic components and another one is biotic components. Abiotic already we discussed that the energy, rainfall, water, temperature, atmosphere, the non-living parts, we can collectively call it as a abiotic components. Then living parts, we can say it as a biotic components. The biotic components we can divide it in this way. The primary producers. Primary producers means autotrophs, self-nourishing plants, green plants, certain bacteria synthesize carbohydrate by the process of photosynthesis for themselves, and indirectly to the other non-producers, supply to the indirectly to the other non-producers. Non-producers means example the herbivores. Example, the primary producers are plants. We can say it as and microscopic algae. Microscopic algae means present in the aquatic system. Example, the Protista kingdom, the microalgae, Chlamydomonas, Volvox, or collectively we can say it as a phytoplankton. So they are microscopic algae. Then the biotic components primarily consist of primary producers and the consumers. And the consumers we can say it as a heterotrophs because they depend on plants for their nutrition. Then macro consumers and micro consumers we can divide it. Macro consumers means example the large animals. We can say it as a macro consumers. Example the herbivorous zebra and deer are herbivorous. Then carnivorous means the lion, tiger, or we can say it as a carnivorous. Then micro consumers means saprotrophs. Saprotrophs means they're deriving food from the dead and decaying matter. If the parasitic consumers means they living on the they living on the host cell. The if the consumer the mode of nutrition is saprobatic means dead and decaying matter, they get a food. Then we can say it as a micro consumer. So some micro consumers, bacteria and fungi obtain energy nutrients from the plants and animals. One type of mode is saprotrophs and another type of mode is parasitic mode. So both saprophytic and parasitic mode of they can get food from the other organisms and dead and decaying matter. So the ecosystem we can say it as a abiotic and biotic component. Abiotic, we all know that non-living parts. The biotic, we can say it as a producers and consumers. Producers means primarily on plant. Consumers means herbivorous and carnivorous. We can say it as a macro consumers. Then micro consumers is bacteria and fungi. We can say it as a both the bacteria and fungi can get a food through two types of one is saprophytic and another one is parasitic mode of nutrition. Understand? Next, ecosystem services. What are the services ecosystem is providing to us, and how we are using it? One is the provisioning services is food production. Ecosystem giving food. We all know that the plant and animal we get the food from the both the plant and animal, and water. Ecosystem providing wood and fiber, fuel, etc. These are the provisioning services. And the supporting services, the same ecosystem providing a supporting services, nutrient cycling. Example, nutrient cycling means the carbon cycle or oxygen cycle, carbon dioxide cycle, phosphorus cycle, etc. And nitrogen cycle, we can say it as if the plant and animal will die and dead and the decomposers will decompose the complex protein into ammonium salt. After that, the bacteria present in the soil, the ammonium salt converted into nitrate and nitrate. Then the plant can get the nitrogen from the soil. This is the mode of nutrient recycling. After the plant die, the same again the cycle will start and go to the soil and again the soil the bacteria will decompose and the plant can get the nutrient. And soil formation. This is also the rocks will the river will erode and the air will wind will erode and even the species will can erode the rock and the rock under hundreds of years the rock become because of the erosions the soil will be formed and the primary production and habitat provision. These are we can say it as a supporting services from the ecosystem. The next, cultural services, spiritual, aesthetic, educational, and recreational. We can say it is a ecosystem services. These all are done in the ecosystem only. And the regulating, the climate regulations. The ecosystem will alter the climate. Say for example, the rainfall season and the winter and the summer all comes in the periodically. This is the climatic regulation and the flood regulation. Flood regulation means the excess of water will go to the low-lying areas. And the low-lying areas, the water will be stored, and the organisms will surrounding that area can use that water. Flood regulation and water purifications. The water also will be purified in the ecosystem itself, not polluted. But in the man-made nature, the water will be polluted because of the man's influence and modernization, industries, etc. Okay, so ecosystem services we can same we can use this chart and present in the mains examination, provisioning services, supporting services, cultural and regulatory services. You must at least remember the 2 to 3 points from each subtopic, and you can use it in your mains examination. Prelims specifically, this is not important, but main specifically, it is very useful to you answer in the GS paper. Next, biosphere. UPSC simply will change the words and will ask the question. What is your understanding regarding bio and biosphere in your preliminary examinations? So, bio means the large naturally occurring community, flora, fauna, major habitat. Already I told you the rainforest or the tundra or savanna, it is a bio, the largest one. So, bio, you can recollect two examples. That is very easy for you. Just remembering the definition, it is tough for you, some cases. And using the examples and recollecting the facts and write on your own words for the biome definitions. Large naturally occurring community of flora and fauna occupying a major habitat. That is biome. Example, rainforest biome, tundra biome, or we can say it as a biome. Then biosphere includes all living organisms on Earth together with data organic matter produced by them. That is biosphere. All living organisms on Earth together with the data organic matter produced by them. We can say it as a biosphere as the interacting of air, water, and land. So three things interacting with each other. Or we can write it here and interacting with each other. That is the water, land, and air. That is biosphere. The definition of biosphere means that is the largest level of organization in the topmost. And the second topmost is bio. Third is ecosystem. Then fourth is, what is the fourth one? Community. And fifth one is population. Then India. So start from low to high. We can say it as an individual is the first one. Then second population. Third community. Fourth ecosystem. Fifth bio. Then sixth biosphere. In this way we can write it. So this is important. You must remember. Definitely, UPSC preliminary examinations they will ask a question from this area. Next, what is ecotone? Here, there the UPSC asked a question from this ecotone. Ecotone means the two ecosystem. One is land ecosystem and another one is aquatic ecosystem. In between the two ecosystem, the animals, the organisms present there, we can say it as an ecotone. Then marshy land, the water water percolate here, and land also will be there. Then the marshy area we can say it as an ecosystem. But the species present in the ecosystem are different from the both ecosystem. They are different from the land ecosystem and the aquatic ecosystem. But they can adapt to both land and water. That is the nature of the species present in the ecosystem. Then, ecotone. The ecotone means the zone of junction between two or more diverse ecosystems. Example is mangrove. The mangrove forest present in this marshy area. Example, the Sundarbans is a mangrove tree, and the Pichavaram, Kodiyakarai in Tamil Nadu also we can say it as a mangrove tree are present in the marshy land. So, grassland, estuary, and river bank we can say it as a ecotone. And the characteristics of the ecotone is it is a zone of tension as it has a condition intermediate bordering of two large area. Say for example the zone of tension we can say it as a Doklam crisis between the crisis between the India and the China border clash where it is present near the Bhutan. We fight it. So we can imagine that the ecotone like Nepal or the Bhutan area. But the large ecosystem, one is China is a one ecosystem, India has another ecosystem. Between the China and India, two ecosystem, the center buffer state, we can say it as a Bhutan and a Nepal. Imagine that. This way you can also link with it here, but the species present not like a Chinese in the Bhutan, not like a Indians in the Bhutan. They are different. The same way you can think it. Ecotone is a border between the two large ecosystems present. So mostly in the marshy areas in case of the ecosystem between the land and the aquatic ecosystem. Okay. So contact species are entirely different from those found in the border system. That is important. Entirely different. The species present in the same in the land and the aquatic the statement is not. They entirely different. That is a keyword. You must remember. UPSC may check your understanding. And that can be natural or man-made ecosystem. We can say it as an agriculture field is a man-made one. Then the agriculture field and the forest area. Between the agriculture field and the forest area, that place is we can say it as an eco. Then we can see that that area not look like a forest area, but not look like a agriculture area. But between the agriculture field and the forest area, some species will be there. They can get their food from the agriculture field, and also they can get the food from the forest area. The species will survey on those area. Then we can say it as an ecotone. Okay, understand? So the ecotone not only natural, it also is man-made one. Example, the agriculture field and forest area made by man. Next, edge effect, edge species and ecoline. What is edge effect? Higher density of organisms and variety of species can found within a ecotone. That is edge effect. Which means that the density of organisms present in the ecotone will be very high. because of availability of food and water. If the food and water availability is plentiful, then the species number will be very high. Say for example, the Ganges will run on 360 days because one is the Ganges river will get rain from, water from the southeast monsoon, and also Ganges will get water from the snow melting in the Himalayas. Because that reason, the Ganges river is a perennial river. So Ganges is perennial one. Then the Sundarbans. Sundarbans is the mouth of the Ganga. The Sundarbans, the fresh water will come 360 days. And the tides, every day, 6 tides. The ocean water will go to the land. And the marshy land, and the availability of the fresh water and the saline water and the species fitness is very high. So we can say it as a net effect on the Sundarbans. Because of the human influence, we are cutting more and more number of mangrove trees. The species numbers will decrease. But naturally, it is a age effect area, that ecotone. Okay. So the higher density of organisms and variety of species we can found within an ecotone, we can say it as a age effect. Then H species, the organisms which occur primarily or most abundantly in this zone, we can say it as a H species. Then you can imagine that the Royal Bengal tiger present in the Sundarbans, they can swim in the water, marshy water, and they are a good hunter in the a good hunter in the swimming, and they can hunting the animal in those areas. And also the Bengal cat, the Sundarban cat also, the adapted swimming, and they can catch the cat can catch the fish in the water. But normally the cat cannot swim in the water, and they are not going for the fishing in the water. But they adopted in the Sundarban areas the fish-eating cat, especially that the endangered cat present in the West Bengal, they can swim and get the fish. Because of the reason, the population is very high, and organisms which occur earlier, but now it becomes endangered because of the human hunting, catching fish hunting cat. Okay, the organisms which occur primarily most abundantly in this zone, we can say it as a H species. Then next one, ecoline. Ecoline means the zone of gradual but continuous change from one system to another when there is no sharp boundary. We can't fix the sharp boundary. This is the boundary for the aquatic ecosystem. We can't say because if the high tide, then water will go to the as much as in the land, and the low tide, water will come down. What will happen? You can see the land during low tide, but during high tide you can't not able to see the land because the water will flooded in the high tide. So the boundary line we cannot fix for this is the aquatic system boundary line. This is for the land boundary line. So the eco line means the continuous changes from one system to another where no sharp boundary between the two terms in the species composition. Then the species also will go for the water. Example frog. Frog is an amphibians. They can live in the land and the water. And also we can say it as a turtles. Turtles both live in the land and water. So ecoline means it is a zone of gradual but continuous change from one system to another when there is no sharp boundary between the two terms of species composition. You can see that you can see that if you go from a land to the water, you can see that the continuously changing the species density and the um, ecotone area. The new species or different species you can see in this area. But after the eco zone area, you can see that aquatic. Here the aquatic, here the land. Then we can say it as a this is the ecotone. If you going from land to the aquatic zone, gradually the land species will decrease here, and the new species you can see it here. And after that, gradually the ecotone species will decrease, and you can see it as a aquatic species. This is the ecotone. There is no sharp boundary between the two in terms of species between the aquatic and the land ecosystems. Okay, understand? Next. The difference between the echoline and ecotone. Echoline already we discussed. There is no sharp boundary. That is the ecoline. But gradually the species one is decreasing and the species other ecosystem is increasing. That is the ecoline. But ecotone is the land between the or border between the two different ecosystems. That is the ecotone. The marshy land, we can say it is a Sundarbans, which our Puri Karai are example for the ecotone. Then definition. The ecoline is a physiochemical gradient, characteristics of traits species across the species geographical region. That is the definition for the ecoline. Then ecotone is a transition zone between the where two biomes or two ecosystems. We can say it as a transition area. Then the determining factors are physiochemical factors such as humidity, temperature, rainfall. Chemicals are determining the ecoline species. And the determining factors, the transition zones are created by two ecosystems or two biomes. Based on two biomes, the species will be there. Say for example, between the land and the water, the species mostly amphibians. Say for example, the agriculture field and the forest, the species mostly land dwelling animals and birds will be present in the between the agriculture and the forest area. So determining factors here is a ecosystem. Which one? Two ecosystem or ecotone. Here determining factors we can say it as a abiotic factors and environmental conditions based on gradient variation. Gradient variation means that the species, one species will be decreased and another species population will be increased. Again, can be decreased in this ecotone area. This is the one ecosystem area. This is another ecosystem area. Between the ecotone, there is no exact place for ecoline, but the ecoline means the sharply decreasing and increasing area. That is ecoline. Based on the environmental conditions, the species to the transition zones will be increased or decreased in the ecoline. But the ecotone, the species will be entirely different from the first ecosystem to the second ecosystems. Okay, that is ecotone. And the examples, blood type, frequency distribution. Here the SUDC is the ecotone. Blood type frequency means the ecoline. Some species we can say it as a cold-blooded animals, and some species we can say it as a warm-blooded animals. Warm-blooded animals example is we can say it as a human birds are warm-blooded. They never change their body temperature. In case of the temperature is hot or cold, but the cold-blooded animals they can change their body temperature because of surrounding temperature. Example, reptiles, amphibians, they can change their body temperature. Ecotop and ecological amplitude ecofin. Ecotop is the smallest ecological distinct landscapes features in mapping and classification system. And ecological amplitude means every species has a range within which it can tolerate ecological changes. Say for example, ecological amplitude. Amplitude means if temperature is rising and rising, what will happen? Then, say for example, in the coastal areas, continental shelf, the species, especially corals, will die because the corals can survive at optimum temperature 27 to 30 degrees Celsius. The temperature is increasing, then coral will die. The coral is an animal. The sensitive species will die. Some species may adapt, but some species also, if the amplitude in enormous level, they can also die, not able to survive. In a human also will die in the time of severe heat waves present in India. Every year there is a 10 to 20 persons will die because of the heat waves. The ecological amplitude. Every species has a specific range within which it can tolerate ecological changes, called ecological amplitude. So this is the keyword. Can tolerate ecological changes is called as a ecological amplitude. Then ecotope means the smallest ecological distinct landscape features mapping classification system. This is the area for the species. This is the area for this species. This is the area for this species. That is the ecotope. Mapping and classification through distinct landscape. That is the ecotope. Then ecophen means or ECAS we can also known as the variation of phenotypes. Phenotypes means because of that adaptable in those areas, they in this evolution they changed with some modifications. Say for example, future after 10,000 years, the human don't have the teeth because we are not hunting and we are not eating strong food. So everything we are cooking, boiling inside the cooker, and we are using the mixing grinder to grind the food. Because that reasons in future we don't have the teeth. We are not using the teeth, but animal continuously using the teeth, then the teeth will be present in the animals, not in the humans. And also in future we don't have the nail because we are not using our nails to climb on the tree, but animals using their nails, hunting and climbing for tree. So because the reasons the animals will have the nails and the teeth, but the humans don't have in the future, near future. So the phenotype is observable physical characteristics. In say for example, European living in Africa will have different features. Higher melanin in skin. European person living in Africa and Africa will get a more sun because Africa present in the near equator and three important latitudes: Tropic of Cancer, Equator, and Capricorn. Three latitudes passing only one continent in the world. That continent is Africa. So too much of sunlight available, plenty of sunlight is available. If the sunlight is more in those geographical area, then the species present that geographical area, then skin melanin content will be higher. Which area the slanting countries the skin melanin content will be less. So this is the reason the dark skin humans in the Africa and the milkies are white skin humans present in the Siberia and the near Arctic region. Okay. So ecopin means the observable of physical characteristics, variation of phenotypes. So keyword is variation in the phenotypes is the keyword for the ecopin. Ecological amplitude can tolerate ecological changes, maximum range on the weather. That is, we consider it as ecological amplitude. Ecotope means distinct landscapes features, mapping and classification systems. This is the place for the species. That is ecotope. Ecotype, ecospecies, and homeostasis. So nowadays UPSC is asking based on the terminologies. If you know the terminology, you can answer the question very easily. If you don't know the terminology, then it is very difficult to answer the question. That is UPSC making difficult in the questions. So reading the terminologies in the environment, that is very important. Okay. One or two questions definitely will come in this way. Ecotype, it occurs when ecofins remain their new environment for too long. Result morphological changes become genetically fixed. Say for example, if continuously the person living in the Africa, European persons, nearly 10 generations, what will happen? The melanin in the skin increasing slow by slow and fixed in the 10th generations. After the 10th generations, the Europeans also look like a black skinned people in the Africa. If the persons living in the US or Europe, their ancestors from the Africa, then their skin color will be changed. If after 10th generation what will happen? They are raised from the Africa, but their skin color will be white. So adaptability. And in some cases, you can see that some of the tiger will be white skin. Reason the melanin pigment. And most of the tiger skin color is yellow, orange, and black lines, black stripes on the body. So the ecotype means genetically fixed, and earlier we seen that ecophenes means the phenotypes will be changed because of that living in other geographical region and adaptability of that geographical area. So morphological changes become genetically fixed. As a result, morphological changes is permanent. However, interbreeding among the two ecotypes produce a viable offspring is possible. Interbreeding means, say for example, African father and American mother. This is we can say it as interbreeding. Because of that interbreeding, the child will born look like both African and American. Their skin color may be African, or their hair and structure and height will be American. They can be interbreeding. We can say it as such. So ecotype means genetically fixed. Epophenols means morphological changes. Continuously morphological changes occur in next generations. Then the ecotype will be done. And ecospecies. Animals or plants, some species are kept in separate environment very long time. And adaptation becomes permanent part of the genes. The result, both the morphological and genetic variation is now permanent. So morphological variations. Say for example leopard. Leopard present in the peninsular plateau or Deccan plateau. Their fur will be very. And the leopard will go beyond the Vindhyan Satpura mountain and go to the Himalaya and reach the Himalaya. What will happen? Because of the cold climate, they must adapt that area. And the leopard size also will be increased or decreased, and the fur will be increased. Fur length will be also increased. So the ecosystem